Let's get into the advisory now and discussing superannuation policy and the upcoming federal election. Jonathan Steffanoni from Legal and Prudential Advisors joins me. Good to have you with us. First time on Ausbiz, Jonathan. Good to see you.
Wonderful to be here.
So we've got a lot happening and there has been these changes coming, I guess, ahead of the election. Tell us what we should really know here.
The first thing to note is that we're at the point where there'll be no more significant parliamentary business before we get to an election. So it is an important inflection point where we can take stock of the policies which are likely to be continued regardless of what the next parliament looks like. And then also looking at what the policies of the coalition and Labor might be if they're returned to power or form government. We've also got the really important dynamic of the crossbench in the Senate, likely to play a significant role regardless of the composition of the parliament.
So what does that mean for people, looking at their superannuation, particularly as people start to reassess it ahead of the new financial year? There's always these tax caps and whatnot as well. What would your advice be in terms of looking at your policy?
So I think the important thing for individuals to be mindful of is that there are different policy platforms for both the Labor Party and Coalition. Much of the policy is targeted towards the trustees and the management of the system and isn't likely to have a direct impact on decision making of an individual as a member of a superannuation fund. But I still do think it is important to have some awareness of some of these higher level policies which will affect the system and how it operates.
And also an awareness of scams. Tell us, how aware we should be of these, because they're getting more and more sophisticated.
Yeah, so one thing which we did see make its way through Parliament over the past few weeks was a piece of legislation, the Scams Prevention Framework Bill, which does create an architecture upon which the government intends to roll out economy-wide obligations to have a more structured and coordinated approach to minimising the risk that Australians are faced with. A significant uptick in scamming activity globally over the last couple of years.
So if you saw one of those scams, we all know we're not meant to click on a link that just comes to us, but what is the sort of, high level advice that you would give about trying to avoid some of these very sophisticated scams?
So one of the challenges that all Australians face is that it can be easy to take a false sense of comfort from the fact that we probably all receive emails and messages which are easily identifiable as being a scam. So it's probably quite common for all of us to delete these. We may even sometimes report them. What that can do is create a false sense of comfort. If we do look at recent developments in the global scamming industry, the level of sophistication and complexity in the way in which this industry goes about trying to target high wealth individuals in particular, I think it's an area where there's no room for complacency and anybody is a potential victim.
And Jonathan, just tell us finally what you're doing at Legal and Prudential Advisors more broadly.
So we work very closely primarily with trustees of APRA-regulated superannuation funds. We do a lot of work assisting trustees in responding to what's a really busy legislative agenda, adapting to regulatory change, working with trustees in how they interface with the Twin Peak regulators.